What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. At this point, the Clippers expect to trade Marcus Morris, and actually it's widely expected that they look into exploring more options with Marcus Morris' contract and trading him. It's definitely been a roller coaster with Marcus Morris on the team. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, the inconsistency throughout the last few years that he's shown when they've needed him the most in a lot of games really is unreal at this point. But at the same time, I will say this: he's not a bad player or anything like that. He shows a lot of good signs. He has moments where he plays really good. He plays pretty sound, and he has moments where he looked like he could be the third best player on the team. But then there's a lot of moments in certain big games where he doesn't show up, and a lot of the fans are looking for him, wondering where he's at and wondering why he didn't show up. And it's been like that the last couple seasons. And, he's probably one of the most inconsistent players on the Clippers, maybe besides some people might say Zubac or somebody like that. But he's definitely the most inconsistent that I could think of that comes to mind, you know what I'm saying? Because with the talent that he has, you would think that he would be more consistent with this unit who has a lot of freedom on offense. I mean, they got so many offensive pieces, so many offensive weapons. Really, he should get more high percentage shots. He should take more high percentage shots, and he should be more efficient from the field, based upon all the other weapons that they have. I mean, the way Terrence Mann evolved, the way Luke Kennard evolved, now Reggie Jackson evolved as the third best scorer for the team. So it's like, when you think about it, it's like, man, you got all these pieces around you with Kawhi and PG, of course, and you should be playing a lot better and a lot more meaningful minutes in regards to, contributing, because, he's one of the pieces that a lot of people looked at as one of the core players, part of the culture of what the Clippers are now. And if that's the case, then you have to play better. And like I said, Marcus Morris had a lot of good moments and things like that. I just think that, it's been time for them to make this move. And now the Clippers are, en route to, look at his contract specifically and see how they can, maybe go out there and get some other pieces, for him, and in regards to his contract and how he's being paid, and the number of dollars they're giving him, and the inconsistency is there so much that they're just pretty much to the point where now it's like, we need to look into something else if we can get more help, instead of having him, who is a good player, but not up to the standards that we thought that, he would play, based upon what we paid him. And I definitely understand the Clippers for looking at it that way, because I've been said that, I think he's good, but at the same time, now that you have Robert Covington and, Nicholas Batum is still around, I mean, really, you kind of don't need Marcus Morris, because Robert Covington is just as good defensively, and he shoots from the 3-point range. He shoots just about the same percentage. I think he's in the mid to late 30s, this year specifically from the 3. So, I mean, that's where Marcus Morris is, and with the 3-point shot. So it's not like you're missing too much there. And then on top of that, you got to understand, Robert Covington is, he's not much younger than Marcus Morris, but he is younger than Marcus Morris. And he's a little bit more mobile, I would say, to me. I mean, like when I see his movements on defense, he gets after it. He has quick hands. He's got one of the quickest hands probably in the NBA in regards to defense, and Robert Covington. And like I said, he can knock down a 3 at a pretty decent clip. So, having him along with, like I said, still having Nicholas Batum, you really don't need Marcus Morris now that you got Robert Covington, and, you add a Norman Powell. So both of them definitely make up for Marcus Morris' points, and both of them play defense on the defensive end, so they definitely make up for what he does on that end. So it's like, you really don't need him at this point if he's going to be inconsistent, because it's almost as if the Clippers are giving Marcus Morris a lot of minutes out there, and the production isn't showing for it, because, as I said, in big games, he needs to be the one that steps up all the time in big games, because That's what he's getting paid to do. And he's been looked at as the third best player, supposedly, for the Clippers the last couple seasons. But then Reggie Jackson took that away from him. So it's like, when you think about it in its entirety, it's like, why not, look for other options with Marcus Morris. If you can get two good solid players, or maybe another good solid player, for him, and get somebody a little bit more in control, not getting technicals and all the stuff that Marcus Morris, that comes with him. Marcus Morris is the type of guy you do want him on your team. I understand that because, he got your back. He seems like one of those type guys where, he'll go all out for you, or something like that, if he's riding with you on the team. But at the same time, you need somebody to be able to be consistent too. And that's the reason why I feel like he's one of the main names that has risen in regards to, possible trade opportunities this offseason because of his inconsistency and how much he's, been inconsistent at times where they didn't need him to be. And, when you look at the fact that PG and Kawhi have been out X amount of time throughout this last couple years they started this operation, that gave Marcus Morris more the green light to go out there and show what he could do and be more consistent. And he really just hasn't done that. I mean, he's done good. He's had good moments. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, the inconsistencies don't override, or should I say, the inconsistency does override his talent. You see what I'm saying? Because even though he's talented and all that, and he could play both ends of the floor, but you don't know what Marcus Morris you're getting every night. And I don't feel like that's the direction they need to be going into. I don't feel like that's the type of player that they need to be paying $65-70 million a year. And you don't know what you're getting out of him from night to night. And you went out and got a Robert Covington just because you didn't know what you're getting out of this guy from night to night, because they could have just traded for Norman Powell. I mean, really, they could have went for another trade, but they got Robert Covington in that deal as well because he can do pretty much everything Marcus Morris can do. You know what I'm saying? He's not good backing down the paint with a turnaround 17-footer. Of course, he doesn't have that to his game. But as far as knocking down threes, he shoots at about the same clip as, like I said, they shoot about the same percentage. And like I said, Covington is a little bit more mobile. He's a little bit quicker with the hands, and he's more of a locker room guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not, and I'm not saying Marcus Morris not a locker room guy, because he is too, but, he's, Robert Covington's more the calm type, you know what I'm saying? The type to go out there and let his game, do the talking, not getting technicals, not putting his team in bad position, not trying to take too many shots that's not high percentage. Robert Covington plays more, in control to me at times. Like you'll see Marcus Morris, he'll have nights where he's really good, then he'll have nights where he plays just really reckless, out of control, getting technical fouls, giving the other team points, getting, kicked out of games and all this other stuff. We know how Marcus Morris is. We've seen him over the last several years, so we know how he can be. But like I said, I just think that the Clippers need to move on from that, because really I don't feel like he's going to help the Clippers win a championship. I just don't. I mean, his inconsistency is only going to get him put out of the 8-9 man rotation at some point in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? If they make it in the playoffs, or if they made it this year, because they really just couldn't count on him. You see what I'm saying? And I know Ty Lue really likes him and everything like that, and try to find minutes for him, but Reggie Jackson has really secured that third spot. Reggie Jackson has secured as being the third leading scorer on his team. I mean, he's literally secured that spot. So Marcus Morris can't get that spot back. And really, that's what they paid Marcus Morris to do. And you got Reggie Jackson playing as the number 3 scorer on the team, and he's making $22 million. And Marcus Morris is making $65-70 million. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense at all. Why pay somebody $40+ more million when you're getting the same production out of a guy who is putting up more numbers and being more consistent doing it? Because Reggie Jackson, he has his moments too where he's a little inconsistent here and there, but he's way more consistent, I would say, than Marcus Morris. I feel like, you could depend on him a little bit more than Marcus Morris. I feel like he got tired a lot this year, because he was handling the ball and PG was out, Kawhi was out, and he had to take the onus of a lot of the offense and everything. And I feel like Reggie Jackson just kind of ran out of gas towards the end of the season, but I've seen, Marcus Morris play with Kawhi and PG and still be inconsistent with his shooting and still be off. And, the Clippers find themselves in a predicament where they got to try to climb their way out, just like last year in the playoffs against Luka. I mean, there's a lot of games where he was inconsistent, you know what I'm saying? And, you get consistency out of Marcus Morris the way you're supposed to. And, you're moving on. I mean, even against the Phoenix Suns, you get more consistency out of that series against Marcus Morris. You're moving on maybe to the next round. You see what I'm saying? Last year's playoffs. So it's a lot of moments where he needed to step up and he didn't. And I feel like, the Clippers have really, really, got fed up with it. You know what I'm saying? They're just to the point where, like, why are we paying somebody all this extra money when we got a third leading scorer who's making $22 million, who plays a lot better, who's more flexible when it comes to offense, and who can score at a higher clip? Because Reggie Jackson can go out and get you 40. I mean, he can do that. I mean, Reggie Jackson can get hot enough to go out and get you 40. We saw what he did in that Lakers game where they beat the Lakers. I think it was like a month. The last game they played the Lakers, I think it was like a month before the season was out, where they blew the Lakers out. Reggie Jackson had like 36 or 38 points or something like that. See, Reggie Jackson can go get you numbers like that when he gets it going. You see what I'm saying? Marcus Morris can too, but it's very few far in between that Marcus Morris can do it, seem like. But I think Reggie Jackson can go out and get you 30, 40 easily. I mean, it's just because when he gets going, he's just he has a lot of offense. He's a shooting guard. You know what I'm saying? He can handle the ball. He can get his own shot. He can get to the rim. He can step back and shoot the three. He's a decent free throw shooter. He's not as good as Marcus Morris on defense, but at the same time, they got Robert Covington and Norman Powell now. So they make up for the defense that, Reggie Jackson doesn't have. So when you look at it from that standpoint, do they really need Marcus Morris? No, they don't. So that's why I think they should go out and, look for other pieces. And, like I said, it's funny. Marcus Morris said they need to go out and look for a backup point guard. Well, maybe that's what they'll do when they get your contract and look at your contract and figure out a way to get you out of LA to get a backup point guard or a starting point guard for the team, in which they really need, more so than they need Marcus Morris now, because they got other players that make up for Marcus Morris. So maybe they'll take his contract, get rid of him, go find a good backup point guard, pay him a decent amount of cash, and now they're set to make a run, because now when Reggie Jackson sits down, or Kawhi or somebody that sits down, you still got somebody running the offense at with a very high IQ, which is a high IQ point guard, which I know the Clippers, that's what they would definitely try to go out and get, like a Goran Dragic or somebody like that, DJ Augustine. Those guys right there, they're role players, but they play within their means, and they play with a good mind state when they're on the court. They don't mind passing. They don't mind taking a big shot if they're given the opportunity. So that's the type of point guard you need, and I think that's what they're actually probably going to go after in letting Marcus Morris walk or go or trade him to another team. I think that's their focal point. Basically what Marcus Morris said a few days ago about what the Clippers need, I think they're going after that while they're getting ready to rid of his contract and send him on his way to another location. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. Hit the like, subscribe, as we always say. And hey, Khaliis out.